What's your strongest memory of Mac Miller?
He hit me up. He was like, hey, let's do a session. I started jamming on an idea and he listened to it. He's like, that's a groove. That's a groove. He's like, oh, my girl's coming over. And then there's a knock on the door later. I'd answer. It's Ariana Grande is coming up. Shows up. She's super nice. And then we're just hanging out. And then like, I'm just making the beat. I have the drums put in and the keyboard's chord progression is kind of in there. And then he goes, I know someone we can get for that. And he just FaceTimes Thundercat. And then Thundercat, he comes over and no joke, Ariana's here, Thundercat's like here, Mac's here. The first bass line he plays is the what's the use bass line, like the very first thing that comes out. And it was just like, whoa.
Swear to God, he literally picked up the bass. And that was just the first thing he naturally did.
You listen to the Asa Park podcast.
The Asa Park podcast.
The Grammy, was that with that was not with Mac, that was with
that was with John Batiste. Yep.
Yeah, that album. Wow.
Yeah, that was a fun one, man. That was a blast.
Yeah, how many tracks did you do on that album?
I didn't. So I was like working on the whole. Basically, what happened was John hit me up and he's like, "Hey, I'm working on this album. I got a session in LA." So I met him in LA. And then he basically had drives of like tons and tons and tons of material. And we'd just sit together and kind of pull up different songs. And the first day he like went out for I don't know if he went out for dinner or something. And then I had all the sessions and it was me and the engineer. And there was like one song we tracked some piano on. I kind of engineered it and he basically played some piano. And then like I had all the stems. And I kind of remixed it and I did some different Ableton stuff while he was out. And then when he came back, they were like, oh shit, like, damn, like nice. And then we just kind of kept rolling. Like I spent like a week with him in New Orleans and we went to Electric Ladyland. And so, yeah, like there's a few, I think there's like 2 tracks where I actually have stuff I played and the rest of it's kind of like, I was doing a lot of like, kind of more like old school production almost, where it's kind of like you're sitting there talking about the songs and like the direction and stuff like that. So it was
Rick Rubin style.
Yeah, it was a lot of that too. Yeah, like I was playing a lot too, but like, yeah, a lot of it was talking about the style and different things like that.
But what do you do with him? Because I'm like, up until that album at least, and after he's done a lot of different stuff, but he was very organic, and you're that rare, like the mix between organic and digital, which I love. And was that why he came to you, or was it because?
Well, actually, how he found my stuff was Mac did. He performed "Dang," and then a while later he did "Ladders," both on the Colbert Show, which John Batiste is he was the band leader for Colbert Show. Yeah. So basically like he learned those songs and he was like, oh, who produced these songs? And both of them, I produced both of those. Yeah. So he liked the style basically. And he wanted to just work more with me for that. Yeah.
You mentioned Mac Miller. We need to talk about Mac. What's your, like, you knew him. What's your like strongest memory of Mac Miller?
Man, well, the first time, so like we did "Dang," how that happened was it was started with a session with Anderson, and it was originally going to be like a single for my EP or something, and we started it, and then Anderson laid the hook on "Dang," and then like a week later, he's like, "Yo, man, like I was just playing this for Mac Miller, and he would love to have it for his record," and I was like, "Oh, cool, like, yeah, let's do it," like that sounds like makes it a bigger deal, so. Let's do it. And then, so we did all that. I never met him in person yet at that point. And then I moved to LA a couple years later.
When was this?
So when did "Dang" come out? That was like 2016 or 2017.
2017, Divine Feminine, wasn't it, off that album? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then I moved to LA like shortly after that. And then we met up. He hit me up. He was like, hey, let's do a session. Come over. So I went over to his house and that's where I first met him. And we kind of just like spent the day together. I got there kind of in the early afternoon and we just hung out. And then I started jamming on an idea, or I was like, oh, let me play some drums first. Let me do some drum. I played like a drum pattern in, and he listened to it. He's like, that's a groove. That's a groove. And then we kept kind of building on, and he's like, oh, my girl's coming over. And then there's a knock on the door later. I answer, it's Ariana Grande is coming up, shows up. So I let her in. She's super nice. And then we're just hanging out. And then like, I'm just making the beat in the studio, and they're kind of like dancing like off and like, and then after a while, we get the beats. And this is so we get to this point. I have the drums put in, and the kind of the keyboards chord progression is kind of in there. And then he goes and I go, okay. He's like, how's it going? I'm like, good. He's like, I think I'm ready for bass. And he's like, okay, cool. I know someone we can get for that. And he just FaceTimes Thundercat. And then Thundercat just comes. Yeah. And then Thundercat comes.
I think I know someone. Yeah.
And then, so he comes over, and no joke, we're playing like, so it's like Ariana's here, Thundercat's like here, Max here. I hit play on the beat, and I kind of just want to play the keyboards in real time with Thundercat to kind of lock in. The first bass line he plays is the "What's the Use" bass line, like the very first thing that comes out, and it was just like whoa. And then but it was just nuts.
One of the greatest bass lines, like in my opinion, in history. It's so good.
It came out so effortlessly. It was crazy. It was one of those days I just got home, and it was like, damn, man, this is living in LA is like, okay, crazy.
Yeah, but you're not living in LA now, though, is it? Was it the other days in LA wasn't that productive? Or
I moved like right before COVID, and then I kind of just ended up like liking the Vancouver lifestyle a little bit more, and treating LA more like I go there for work rather than like living there, you know.
Yeah,
but it's cool.
Yeah. So you met Mac through. You casually just mentioned Anderson, and for those who don't know this, we were talking about Anderson Paak, the Anderson Paak. How did you get to know him?
We met, or we linked up in like 2015 or 2016, and he was called Breezy Lovejoy, and it was the era where like it was like prime SoundCloud era. And I was just kind of coming up, and KAYTRANADA was getting big. And then me and KAYTRANADA were friends. I met him early on, where he was called KAYTRADAMAS. I met him in Montreal, and then we became friends. And he started basically sharing my music in his DJ sets and stuff. So that's kind of how helped me get my start, basically. And I think Anderson wanted to get involved in that, or he just liked that sound, that kind of SoundCloud thing that was going on. So he messaged me on Twitter, and he's like, hey man, like, let's do something. And I was like, I would love to. And then I sent him just like a demo that became Am I Wrong? And we met on Twitter.
That's cool. Yeah. So, but how many sessions have you done with Anderson?
Oh man, tons.
How does he work? Like, what's the magic of Anderson Paak? Like, what makes him different?
Oh man, like he's just such he's a musical powerhouse, and like he just kind of can. He's so musical, and like all the best sessions always have this effect. Where it's like, say you make the beat starting, and it kind of has a vibe. It's going good. You're like, I like this. Then Anderson will just be writing something, and when he goes like, okay, I got something, I'm ready. He steps in the booth, and then whatever he lays down, just, it just makes the beat, it makes the whole song become, something crazy, like so much bigger and crazy. And yeah, he's just so musical, and like his rhythm and his lyrics and how quick he works. And he kind of just like gets into a flow state and just goes. And he's, super funny dude, just great to work with. And it's a good time working with him.
This is truly a great one, and if you want me to have on more guests like this, I need your help. So if you want to support the channel and help what I'm doing and trying to build over here, subscribe to the show, follow the show. That's the only thing I will ever ask you for. Now, back to the episode.
But with Mac, what's his genius?
He's crazy with his lyrics too. Like the way he writes his lyrics, it kind of is. I didn't see him write anything, actually. He had just remembered it all, and he just kind of starts flowing, and then the lyrics kind of come to him, it seems like, and he just lays it down. It's very quick, and he wanted to finish the song in one night, so it was like, we were there till like 6, 7 in the morning type of thing by the time, So, I learned a lot about songwriting like that. Like I realized a lot of people like to really push to finish kind of a song in a night. And that's kind of a challenge, but it's a smart thing to do because you get all of it out and then, you can kind of come back. Yeah, it kind of is a good way of working.
Yeah, and the reason is that sometimes when you have, I guess, when you have momentum and you have magic in the room, which is a very hard thing to define, then is this like a common denominator of all the biggest artists and the biggest ones out there, that they have the same mentality, or are everyone different?
There's difference in the way they work, but I like that you said, common denominator. There's just something about their like energy. It's like when you're with someone who is of that caliber, there is a kind of a common denominator, and it's like just their energy and their taste and the quality of their work, and it's just like their craft is just really developed. It's
like in a sense where they know themselves, so they know, like, this is what I do and I don't do all this other stuff. But if you're more of an amateur, you might be trying wider because you haven't yet found yourself, or in the sense of them just simply being more skilled, like more talented, better.
I think both. I honestly think both. I think they are more talented, but they also spent so many years doing it over and over and over and over again and getting better and better. And, it's, I think it's both.
Yeah. And you mentioned there that you send, when you send a beat, is it essentially like a done deal, or how much do you, I'm guessing this is different from song to song, but when you sent Am I Wrong to Anderson .Paak, how finished was that? Were you together at any point for that song, or was it just like you sent the beat?
That was fully online. Yeah, I sent the beat. That one evolved quite a bit. It started with, like, you would recognize it when it starts. Like, all the core elements are there. Like, the groove is the same. The chords I think were the final sound from the beginning on the chords and the bass. The drums changed. The drums were pretty, like, just, the sounds got fatter over time. We just kind of layered it and tried a few different things. And then Schoolboy Q initially, when he got featured on the song, he was rapping. He did his verse over the main beat, like the double time part. And then we were like, let's try to change it up to make a different section for that. So I put that halftime part and those different chords. Yeah. And then eventually Anderson was like, well, what if it starts with a drum fill? So I sent him a couple drum fill options off the intro, and he liked the one that ended up on the track. Yeah. So it's like, it depends. I've had songs that start where the beat's like fully done, and some where it's pretty raw, like super raw, and it just evolves. So really depends.
Yeah. That's interesting. You said something interesting also earlier there. You said that which one was it? Dang was a song where you wanted it yourself, because we'll get to that. But you of course, you're an artist yourself, and you release your own music under your own name, Pomo, and then you, of course, when Mac Miller asks for your song, you I guess you give it to him. But I can also sense myself being like, oh, he wants it, like Anderson wants it, like all these huge artists wants it. Obviously, this is a great beat. I want to do it myself. How do you wrestle with that?
That's a good question. Yeah. It's just kind of like, I kind of decided, like, well, I could be, this was, even though the session was supposed to be like, we're creating something for my EP, I kind of just like to let things if they're kind of going somewhere and it's going to be a bigger deal, a bigger song with a bigger artist, I kind of just let that happen, because it's exciting and it makes the song, probably more people will be able to hear it, and it becomes a more of a collaborative thing, which gives it a whole nother energy and a different light. So I kind of just like, I treat a lot of things like that. I kind of just if something's flowing a certain way, I let it go that way. You know what I mean? There's times where you have to fight too, but, I just like to let the music kind of go,
Yeah, because that is an interesting aspect of the music industry that I don't think a lot of people know. The fact that it's to some extent the biggest egos win, because there's a reason why Mac is a huge artist. Of course, he's super talented. He's done amazing work, but also the fact that he's good at, like, I want that beat, and he's picking the best beats, and he's able to get them for himself. And the sum of all the best beats makes him a giant artist. But I don't have the answer, and I think I'm glad you did what you did there, because it's a gift to the world. But I understand the struggle and the fact that you have to, at some point, you have to fight for yourself too in order to stay relevant and be an artist. And
Yeah, and yeah, it's funny. Yeah, it's a funny business.
How did you, when did you decide that, like, in the beginning, the roots, like, did you want to be an artist first, an artist yourself, or did you want to be a producer first?
I started first off playing in bands, and my role was always like, I played guitar and keyboards, so I was kind of a supportive role in a band setting from my early days in like high school and stuff. And then I got into electronic music through like Justice and Daft Punk and stuff, and I was like, oh shit, you can make this music on your computer. Yeah. So let me and then I would start coming up with ideas, and I would like present them to the band with the computer. Like I'd make a beat at home, a starting point, I'd present that, and I'd realize that's a great way to pitch songs to the band, because it's so much easier than being like picking up a guitar and trying to get your point across, where it's like this way you can have a fully defined little piece that you be like, guys, what do you think about this? And it worked pretty well. So then I kind of got more into like the production side there. And then I just wanted to release like electronic music, and then I kind of got into production. Yeah, so I would say it's kind of it's a mix, man. It just kind of evolved over the years, starting when playing in bands, and then getting more into the production side, and then wanting to release like personal music and stuff. So yeah it all kind of
How did you first, like, when like, are your parents musical? Like, are they musicians, or like, how did you start playing with guitar first or piano first?
Piano first. Yeah, my parents aren't musicians, but like they love music, and they just said they thought that I like had a musical kind of thing when I was a baby, and then they put me into like I did like Royal Conservatory, like classical piano for a lot of years, and then so that's kind of how I got into it. And then, but I didn't, like, at the time I hated playing classical, so I'd always just I'd sit there and just improvise, like play like blues jams or whatever. My mom would be like, that doesn't sound like your pieces. I'm like, yeah, it is. I know what you're talking about. But yeah, I would just jam. I would just jam and do that, but yeah, through piano first. Yeah.
And then guitar.
Yeah.
When are we at here in time, when you were like in your formative years, like 15, 16 years old?
Yeah, like I think, so when did we start? Like I started piano lessons and I was pretty young, like 6 or something like that. And then in high school or in middle school, my neighbor got a guitar, and I think I was like 12, I think. So I think I got the first guitar at when I was 12, because my neighbor got it, and I was like, that's cool. He got an electric guitar. I was like, I want to play electric guitar. So like kind of like middle school, and then, stuff like that.
What year when is this in? Because I can so much relate to what you said with being in a band, and I also played in bands. And honestly, I thought that was the way to go. I thought that was the way music was being made. And I remember this distinctly when I was in high school, and I remember the DJs, the people doing electronic music. They were their instrument was the computer, and I almost remember being this pretentious fuck, looking down at them, being like, they're not real musicians. Like, I'm a real, like, look at my bloody fingers. I'm playing guitar every night. Like, I know jazz. They're not real musicians. And then 10 years later, they won. And I was like playing my jazz licks for nobody, and then I started to learn the computer. Then I understand, like, okay, maybe. But then I was I was 20 years old, and I was like, and what I can relate to with playing in bands, where I was going with this, was that I spent so many hours of my life trying to get a drummer to play what I want the drummer to play. And he does not want to play what I want him to play, and there's a struggle, and there's a fight, and there's I want us to go in this direction. And they're like, no, yeah, maybe. And if I had known that I can just get a computer, I can just, and especially today when everything's so accessible, I could just produce whatever I wanted to, and maybe nobody, probably still nobody would care, but it's at least I could get my own creativity out there without spending all this time trying to get people to play something they don't want to play. If you get what I'm saying.
I know it. Yeah. But I feel like it's a good, there is like electronic music, obviously amazing, but like group feel when it's a bunch of musicians playing together at the same time, nothing beats that. You know what I mean? So it's a worthwhile fight, I think, to try to find a right drummer and get a drummer to play what you want. Cause that's often a hard thing to do.
The key is to find a drummer who is so skilled that maybe you have an idea that you want him to play what you want him to play, but then you hear him doing his own thing, you're just like, oh, fuck my thing. Like, you do that, like continue doing your thing, and then the sum of all parts will be like greater than and each individual one. So I think, but how much like, I remember the first time I heard you and your productions, like what drew me to you, I think, was the synth bass. Like you have this way about laying synth basses that is very groovy.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I love the synth bass. I love the bass because just bass in general, because so you can be so rhythmic with it, and it's fun you can play different substitutions, and it kind of defines what the chords are doing above and whatever. So it's a really fun instrument, and it's just I mean, you can do so much with even just a bass and drums alone. It can create so much. So it's really fun. I love it. Yeah, I got the Minimoog recently.
Oh, you have a Minimoog?
Yeah, it was like
yes. It pays well to have some hits, I see. Because the Minimoog is like it is like how expensive? How much did you pay? Like, let's like.
I don't want to say.
Yeah, come on. This is like we want to know.
It's like, I mean, the truth is, I split it with a friend because we it's a ridiculous splurge. It's like $10,000 basically, and then it's like, we at one point I was sharing a studio space with the friend. And then we both were like seeing this Minimoog, and we're like, dude, should we imagine we had this at the studio? So we decided to split it. But at this point, I'm not there anymore, so we kind of share custody. It's like our child that we share between each other. Spends a couple months at each of our places and goes back and forth. So
was it worth it though? Like, when you is it? Yeah, so it is that good.
Well, it's like also just like it's like a work of art in itself. Like the way it is just so beautiful. It's so simple, but deceivingly simple. Like, it can do so much, and the filters sound amazing, and also you can run like guitars or anything through its external input and distort it, and it sounds so sick. Like, it's an amazing distortion and filter in one, so you can get really cool guitar tones through it too.
I did not know that. Is this something that most people know, or is this something that you've just tried because you're a tinkerer?
Well, I think a lot of people know, not everyone, but a lot of people know the trick where you can route the Minimoog. You can kind of see the patch cables a little bit there, but basically you run the low output into the external input. So you're running itself into itself, and then if you start to bring that in a little bit, you see the overload light start to blink, and you get this nice full kind of saturation going on. It's like, I don't know, it's like wave shaping saturation, but it kind of, whatever it's doing makes it sound so much fatter and richer. And you can put other sources in there too, so it's really cool.
And what did you use before for the basses? As a sub 37 sub?
So, I used that for a while, and honestly a lot of VSTs too, like Diva and stuff, can get some great basses. Like, honestly, I feel like this stuff, like the nice gear is like, it's kind of luxury, but it's also like, the difference with like the nice gear is what I like about it is that it's like a nice old amp too, where there's not as many settings and there's way more sweet spots. Like, kind of whatever you're doing you're gonna be like, okay, that's good. They're both good. It's just more sweet spots. So it's more musical in my opinion.
Yeah. I had the Behringer, the Behringer version. Yeah. The Model D. Yeah. For a while. But it's actually quite nice. But it needs some work and practice to learn how to to get it to sound nice. So it's not like I come from the world of VSTs, and they're very simple. And I think I had this idea of like these synths being that simple. But I have like a Juno 106, and that's of course very plug and play with presets and everything. And then I came to the Model D, and it was like, okay, I have to actually, like, this is not the way, like this does not work the same way that Diva works.
Yeah, it's full signal path, no presets.
Yeah.
So, but that's like, I love learning about that shit. And I feel like when you learn about synthesis and how it works and like different, you kind of like it makes you think about music in a different way in certain ways too. So it's cool.
Yeah, it's like an engineer. It's like, but I have this philosophy, at least, that some, especially producers, they are like engineers at heart. Like if they hadn't done music, they probably built rockets or something else. Like they are nerds.
I agree. I mean, I don't hide it, man. I love nerd. I'm a nerd with that stuff. To an extent,
Yeah. What else do you have behind you? Like, what other synths do you usually use? I see some. I have very small screens. I don't see you that well. But what's, you have to do like a rundown over here.
Yeah. So we got the Minimoog. It's not gonna be in the system. We got it's the OBX8 Oberheim X8, which I love.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's just
It's beautiful.
yeah,
The
it's
Oberheim.
really, yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Nice.
So yeah, that's kind of, there's a whole ups and downs with that, but
Yeah, and with the upcoming stuff, we have to talk about the upcoming music. Is this your current, like, so these new tracks, are they made with these like are those the staples, or?
Yeah, what's on the way she goes, the next single that's coming out soon. I think it's got Oberheim in it. It's got live bass. What else? It's got a bunch of different synths. You know what? Lately, I've been actually trying to like think about doing things with as little, like adding as few things as you can to finish it.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to get more into like minimal style, where, because like I realized after looking back to my workflow for years, I would just be like, I have all these synths, I had all this stuff, and you kind of just try to add everything, and almost in a mediocre fashion, like you just like, okay, that's cool, try putting it in. Okay, that's cool, try putting it in. But I find if you have like just some sounds that you really spent time with and you really kind of dialed in and you get them sounding right and you can bring them up more in the mix because there isn't so much going on. I'm kind of liking that lately. I'm trying to shed some of the my old ways and tighten it up a little bit.
Yeah, and do you find that makes the songs better, or is it more of a
in a way, yeah, because like, I'm trying to think of a good example, but like, yeah, I don't know, like let's say you're making a beat and you have like all these instruments around you and you're like, okay, maybe let's put a little electric guitar through this like little this pedal chain that you just got and maybe you didn't spend too much time with, but it's got all these like new modern effects shit on it. You start putting that all together, and it ends up like it doesn't like cut the same as like a more of a minimal style thing where, maybe minimal is not the best word, but like just like everything's super intentional maybe.
Yeah, it's because I've heard others also talk about this, where I think it's Max Martin or something who has said this, that he wants to, like, every time he gets like he works with his crew, and then he's like, take away, remove the hi-hats, remove the piano. I want to hear it without the piano, and then that enhances it. That makes it more pop music with him just removing stuff. Like that's part of his genius.
100%. I heard that. Yeah, like Rick Rubin talks about that too, and it's just like,
yeah.
And the way I think about it now is just like, yeah, like you really just got to be really really look at it and be like, is this working, or is it just there because I like the guitar pedal and I have this guitar? You know what I mean? Like sometimes you got to really be a little more cutthroat with it.
Yes. Yeah, and when you have a Minimoog, it's like I need to. How can I get my Minimoog into this song?
Yeah, yeah.
Because it definitely have to be there. I have to show people that I've spent all this money. It's not like people, nobody can hear it except like I don't know who can hear it, but it's but to talk about the new album coming out, this new EP or what's
Yeah, it's gonna be around 8 songs, and yeah, the first single's coming out. I think it's even tomorrow it comes out or something, pretty quick here.
Oh,
but
nice.
yeah, it's called The Way She Goes. It's like it's a little bit of the old Pomo style, but it's but it's got I'm singing on it and trying out some new things, and yeah, I'm really proud of it, and I worked really hard on it, and yeah.
Yeah, you say that so casually. I'm singing on it, and the others. You because I didn't know that you were singing. I knew you were playing a bunch of instruments and you were programming drums in a very cool way. Like all of those things, I knew. And that was the reason I wanted to have you on. But you're singing now. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So like, I sang like really, like I sang kind of just like a lot of reverb and delay on older songs, like So Fine off my previous EP, album I'm singing on there, but it's like, it's more of an ambient kind of thing. So cause it was hiding it. I would say like on this one, The Way She Goes, it's more like up front. You hear everything a little, you hear the lyrics more, and it's more, trying to get better, you know what I mean? And be more confident in the songwriting and stuff like that. So yeah.
That is interesting to me. I can understand why a lot of Norwegian and Scandinavian producers don't sing, although they are great singers. It's because we don't know the language that well, and I think our fear of messing up words or writing idiotic lyrics, which has happened, and it's like "Hit Me Baby One More Time" is like one of the biggest hits of the. But I. Yes, and it like whatever works, but when you have American producers or Canadian producers who are like, a lot of them are obviously great songwriters because some of them are great singers, and I'm looking forward to hear it. And by the time this episode drops, we will know. But but it's like, why didn't you sing before?
Well, to be fully honest, I just never thought of myself as a good singer. I didn't really like my voice. I still don't. And I guess like it is fun. It's fucking fun to sing though. You know what I mean? Like, even though you're not necessarily good, and like, I feel like, it's just fun. Yeah. Kind of lost train of thought there, but
and with what I feel like is, with modern processing, you can also warp your voice. Maybe warp is the wrong word, but you can make your voice sound like you can use it almost as a different instrument.
Totally, and yeah. There is some of that in this one, in the Way She Goes. Like the verses and chorus are they're like double tracked, which obviously I like because you create a natural chorusing effect. Yeah. But then the second verse has like, I started using this plugin called Synaptic Morph, and it's a crazy plugin. It's sick. It's like it fuses any two different sources together in like an interesting way with different algorithms. So it kind of sounds like vocoder-ish, but it's got a different character to it. So the second, I found this cool effect that's actually going to be on another song on the album too, but I played like the lead melody on guitar, and then I sang on top of that, and I fused the two together, and it sounds really trippy and cool. It's interesting.
That's fun. And that's really fun. Using the chorus effect like that, like using double voices, using like something I did when I was like, I also hate my voice, and I don't think I'm an amazing singer, but I love using like doing falsettos and inspired by Mac Miller, who we talked about earlier. Like on the Swimming album, he does that so beautiful. Like the opening track, what's it? Come Back to Earth, or is that wow, like the way the vocals there. And he's not. I don't think Ariana Grande would consider him an amazing singer, but by any stretch. But he,
It's the soul, it's the emotion, and
yes,
and yeah,
so much of it. And I think that again, to your point, is that it's not about. And I think especially pop music is not about being the best singer, because or if it was, then we wouldn't have had Mac Millers and even Anderson Paak. Like he's a cool singer, but it's not like an amazing singer. It's very raspy.
like it's not like, as you're saying, like in terms of like technical capabilities of
Yes.
like like, but it's like, but they get, it's the emotional quality gets across, like, to a,
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So saying the word great singer is probably then I'm like I'm claiming that being a great singer is being a technical singer, which is it's not, but it's being a lead singer for a gospel choir. I don't think Mac Miller would have been that. Like he wouldn't have gotten the call.
I'd love to see that though.
Yeah, it would be fun. It would be fun. But what's the because you haven't. It's been a long time. Because again, I remember that your first EP, that was an EP, I think, like brilliant. And again, when I stumbled across it, but it's been a while since, like, you don't release that often.
It's been like, honestly, it's been 10 years.
Yeah,
It's been 10 years. It's been a long ass time. Yeah, I haven't really. I like, it's weird because I make music like every day, but I just haven't been releasing it. And yeah, I mean, maybe you want to psychoanalyze me about that. I don't know.
Let's fucking go. No, but I find this interesting because and I think everybody can relate to this. And I'm in that same phase myself right now. Is that I have, like, I'm doing this, I'm doing a lot of stuff, but I'm making my own music. I've made some music and I want to get it out there, but not yet. It has to be perfect first. I'm not quite there now. These tracks, I'm not buying it. Like, and what I feel like what's happening with me is that the world is constantly evolving, and eventually your track will be dated. And if you listen to Calvin Harris from 2014, woof, like those songs were all over radio. And if I listen to it now, it's so shit. Like, and again, Calvin Harris is brilliant. Like he's like an amazing producer, amazing star, like everything. Like, and he deserves all the success he's having in his head. But like he's like, and it's not because he is bad. It's like it's dated. Like that, the sound is like, the world has evolved.
What was once a cutting edge, fresh sound, eventually it gets, it's like fashion or something. Once it gets done enough times, people want something new.
Yes, exactly, and that was well put. And I think that is the struggle that a lot of people can, and especially now when the world is moving even faster. So the songs that I made last fall, thinking that they're right, but I just want to have 3 more like this.
That's another big one. Yeah, just wanting to make new. Yeah, like you yourself, you want to hear new and exciting stuff. You know what I mean? It's hard to.
And then you and then you come up with something cool because you evolve, and then you want to be, now I want to do more of this now. I think, okay, so fuck those last songs. But if I just put them out last fall, then maybe it would have resonated with people. But it's to me, at least, I think it's the fear of being ashamed of, I did that. Oh God, like it's embarrassing. And that's like, and I think to me that is like, when I'm like intelligently thinking about it, it's the day or the year that I'm not ashamed of my previous self. That's the year when I have not made any progress anymore. Like that's like the definition of like the best proof of you making progress is that you are ashamed of what you did, what you produced, whatever you did a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess that's one. Yeah, because if everything's changed so much and you go, oh fuck, I'm so much better now. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. But what's interesting too, I find, like, I don't know, like stuff, even though like styles get dated and everything, things do kind of come full circle. Maybe not in the same way they came around, but like maybe a certain style of bass or a certain style of vocal thing or production thing kind of comes back around in the mix. Like I didn't use I don't know, just things just sometimes come back around.
Yeah. But are you, because it's the new stuff, how similar is it to what you've done before? Because you have a distinct, like you belong in the, you place yourself in some type of not a box, but like you like this is your palette, your color palette.
I have like a palette I kind of naturally gravitate towards, I think. Yeah. And I think that, well, I definitely wanted to make this album like not, even though like my musical tastes have changed a lot in those years, I still want it to be true to like what the kind of Pomo project is, like kind of have a lot of the funk elements and dance elements. But, you know, I grew up more on, honestly, like I, you know, kind of rock music and a lot of different types of music. So I really like to fuse different styles in my own stuff and also with like other people. I love like the idea of fusing genres together and different like aspects of different genres together. So I think I was experimenting with stuff like that too, and trying to develop over the years like some new production techniques and things that I think are cool and that I haven't done before.
Like this is a tease. Like what?
There's one effect that I used a couple. I find it's a fun way to get cool sampling yourself, basically. Like there's one song on the album that I started with it's a scratch vocal. I put down, I had kind of a rough idea and no real lyrics. And it's kind of a falsetto-y, half gibberish, half words thing. And I recorded that, but then I just, chopped that and split that across quarter notes on the keyboard. So you can kind of replay it and sample and chop it so it sounds like you're kind of making use of your scratch vocal almost. And then it kind of inspired the whole song to change. And then I wrote another vocal part over that. So it's like, it's cool. I don't know. It kind of worked. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. And I like the idea of sampling yourself because it makes you feel like you're kind of using every part of the production. And sometimes like the raw parts are really cool in their energy, but you kind of want, you can't edit it, but chopping it up and sampling it can kind of make it work sometimes, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, 100%, and it's cheaper publishing. That's also because these days you have to be very careful.
Oh yeah,
because people are on you.
On your ass. Yep.
But I can't wait to hear. I think it would be so fun. But you haven't done a lot of, like, I feel like your chords, it's a wide chord. You just so wide chords. Like you don't have any jazz background. You're saying you have rock background. It's like there's very little of what I've heard of you that I'm thinking like this is probably a rock guitarist. Like that. It sounds like a.
That's funny. Yeah. So I don't have a jazz background, but in high school I played in a band, and then my buddy Nate. His producer name is Astrological, and Nate was in the band, and he did have a jazz background, and we kind of had opposite backgrounds and opposite tastes, and we learned a lot from each other, and we were joking because he was like hip hop jazz, and he got me like really more into Jay Dilla and stuff like that.
Oh yes.
So like I found he kind of put me onto that stuff when I was in high school, and he was doing hip hop, and I was doing more. And during high school, I was doing more like 130 BPM, like electro kind of stuff at that time, as well as rock. But then like we were joking because his tempos were kind of speeding up and mine were like slowing down through like each other's kind of influences. But yeah, like I learned a lot about jazz through Nate, and he kind of opened, but I came from a classical background. So I knew theory, but I just, jazz has a different approach to it. So he opened me up to more of a jazz style approach to thinking about music.
Yeah, and KAYTRANADA, we have to talk about him. How did you? Because your sound, like you guys have somewhat of the same color palette. Like you go to the same paint store, if you know what I'm saying, and so it's like there's some similarities at least. How did you? And I know you guys are good friends, and you've known him for quite a while. How did you get to know him?
So. When I was in a band in high school, or after high school, we were like, Vancouver music scene was kind of dull at that point, and we're like, where do we go? We got to move somewhere. So we just decided to move to Montreal because it's more of a kind of a artsy kind of place. We thought, and we're like, cool. So we drove across the country, and we moved there. And then like one of the first weeks we were there, it was actually Nate who was like, yo, like there's Shigeru's playing and KAYTRANADA is playing. And we were like, okay, just let's go check it out. That sounds sick. And then we go there and it's like Kay playing, he's opening up and he's playing beats just off of his laptop, you know, just playing beats. And I think he had just made like the Janet Jackson remix that blew up. And I heard that and I was like, dude, like it was kind of everything that like I thought was like fresh and exciting, and it put my influence. It was like the same influence. It was like I was hearing Jay Dilla, I was hearing like Daft Punk, I was hearing like, you know, all these different things in it, just, you know, dance music, but with Jay Dilla influence and all this stuff. And the groove had that Dilla swing to it, which was still really underutilized. Now I think that's, you know, we can talk about that. But yeah, he had that groove that it was really fresh. And I actually wrote him like a long message. I remember on like fucking, I forget what platform even, but, and then how did we actually meet? I think like, I was working at a venue, in Montreal, and he played at the venue, and eventually we just got to talking and I would start sharing him my music and stuff like that.
Yeah. And he was open to that. I don't know how big he was. He wasn't that big.
He was hitting that. He just,
SoundCloud big.
It was that point. Yeah. When I met him, it was like that point where he was just starting to blow up. Yeah.
Yeah. That was a special time. I remember Kygo from our, like my home country in 2014, something like that. Like you could really blow up on SoundCloud from nothing. He was just like and he was not, well, he had his special sound, of course, same as KAYTRANADA.
Yeah, he had a very distinctive sound. Yeah, man, SoundCloud was a special time, and it's like I was thinking about it kind of recently, and I was like, it was just so cool because your currency, like it was purely like how good your song was would get it more attention. You know, there wasn't a lot of bullshit in it. It was like if your song was fresh, it sounded sick, it was exciting, people can write comments like right on the song, and it was just really cool. You were excited every day to drop something on SoundCloud because you're like, and it's a bit competitive in a fun way too. You're seeing like people blow up. You're like, oh shit, you know. And it was always kind of was instantaneous, not like today where it's like they want you to have stuff handed in like a month in advance and all this stuff. And it's like I like the spontaneousness of it, and it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I 100% agree, and I think it still fascinates me that Spotify hasn't yet adopted the comment under the songs, like on specific moments, because I think that would be amazing insights for the artist producers to also like to know, okay, we're onto something here. Like with this track, it worked, or people got this or this, and people can have like all these Easter eggs and stuff that people used to hide in their songs back in the SoundCloud days, which is not that common maybe now. But I think that don't you think that we're heading there, like Spotify is? Because I don't know exactly how many months in advance you have to upload stuff nowadays, but from what I understand, you can get stuff on Spotify in a couple of days now. So it's become much easier, and I think that back to what we were talking about earlier, I think that what SoundCloud did at least was that it gave the musicians the crutch that we need to be able to, it's just a sketch. Like I'm just uploading it, but I don't want, like, it's not finished, it's not mixed, it's not like all this hedging that we do. So like every time I send something to someone, I'm just like, remember it's not mixed, and I really haven't I didn't, like, you have to hedge yourself so much that by the time people are listening to it, I think the contract on SoundCloud was that all the hedges, just think that the hedges are there, but I'm uploading it, and people just knew. Yeah, exactly. This is just sketches, and I don't want you to like it. But if they love it, you can be like, yeah, actually, I put my heart into this. So, and I think that was what was fun about SoundCloud. And but how, like you mentioned also that the quality of your song and your sound was the only currency. But that is not the world we live in today.
Totally. Now it's, there's a lot of different things together, like different social media shit and all that,
How do you adapt?
I think, I'm blessed to have come from that SoundCloud era and then been able to work with all these great people and you know, I got established enough that I can work with some of these people, and you know, but I feel like nowadays it's a little harder to get out for sure. But how do you adapt? I think like maybe I think just focus on even though you think you need to spread yourself so thin, I think still focus on developing a skill that you're best at and really, really get good at that, and then work with other people who can fill in the gaps, because I think a lot of this we're seeing is like, you know, I'm not like hating on new music or anything, but I think there is a kind of a little, everything's kind of sounding a little more uniform. There's a lot of rules. There's a lot of things that people are expected to do, and things are sounding a little more uniform and a little more mediocre, because I feel like there isn't that many avenues that you can put stuff out and really make, you know, have it be worth it, like a return on investment almost. You know what I mean? It's like people think, what's the point if it's not going to do anything? You know what I mean?
I 100% agree. And I think this is the algorithms. Like before we had curators that decided what was cool. And I actually like, there's a part of me that like that better, because now we just outsource that to the computer and the algorithms. And what's happening is that they're essentially flattening culture. So all culture that used to be this wide is now just flattened into like this band. And this is like, and if you don't do that, and again, as you mentioned, like the return on investment is all about, it costs so much to take the risk and do something over here. But like if we look back, also recently, if you look at the ones who have really influenced music, for example, I always like to mention Billie Eilish and Phineas. What they were doing, no executive in the big major labels would have been like, yeah, this is what we're like, this is the sound. But they just did it. And then after like now, then everybody just were trying to copy Phineas for a while. And I think that, and this is very easy to say, because again, I'm struggling with this. It's very easy to say, but then go fucking do it then. Because again, I also want to have, I want to be liked. I want people to listen to my stuff. I want to be successful, and the risk reward, like it's much more likely to be okay successful if you do like to do that, at least to earn back the investment, which is again, if you're a business, that's what you have to think about. It's much more likely to earn back your investment if you just copy something that works right now. Instead of, it is 100%. And you say that you are completely like you're not influenced by that mindset at all.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I'd like to think that I'm not, but I think it's kind of inevitable, because it's just the culture and society you live in. Those things are going to cross your mind, like. You know, it's you want to be like a pure artist or whatever, and just like release and do what's right. And I try to do that, honestly, because it's just like, yeah, I just want to put out what I like and what I think is right, and what I think is, you know, my truth is, you know, trying to get closer to the truth and be real. And it's also not fun for me to like, I always hated it in sessions when people are like, okay, let's pull up references. Like, what reference do you want to pull up today? I'm like, that's not really like, it's fun to talk to each other and jam and we come up with something, you know what I mean? Like that's the whole fun of it for me. It's not really fun to like, do copy shit and try to make like, I think like everyone copy, like, you know, when you create, it's still coming from something you've heard before, but hopefully not just the most current thing that's the, you know, the trend. Cause you know, you gotta be different a little bit. It's scary, but you gotta try to be.
Will AI steal your job?
I don't think so, because it's like, I tried all the new AI things just to kind of get to see what it's all about, like Suno and all that. And it just kind of sounds like shit. Like it's fun and it's funny and you can get some like funny kind of things, but people don't really care about that, you know, and I don't. And most of my, you know, people I know that like music, we want to listen to people's music and go to their concerts, and you know that's the whole fun of it, right? It's like I don't see the interest in it, but maybe for like advertising and like commercials and like hold music and things like that, AI can be good, I think. Yeah, but I'm not really worried. I don't even like yeah, I don't think. What do you think about it?
I'm undecided. I think that the way AI music is today, I'm not afraid. I'm not scared. But I do fear that we will get to a point where it will be hard to tell the difference. And at that point it will be, like, again, my fear is that then music will turn into brands and AI producers, and it's all. And I think we're heading in that direction. Like I feel like it's less important, and not to take anything away from the big artists today, but it's Taylor Swift is a brand, like mostly a brand. She's also a talented songwriter, but today she's mostly a brand. And what I fear is that it will be it's so expensive to break new artists. Like that's extremely expensive. And if I was a private equity firm, and I could invest all this money in a strange guy from Norway or Pomo in Vancouver, who at least have some track record, or I could just buy the catalog of Queen, and then I can claim that I have found all these tiny snippets of vocals from Freddie Mercury that's lost. And it's essentially just like a 4-second snippet, but it's enough for me to say, let's release a new song. And I use AI to build the rest of the song, and I can just continue to. So that's where what I fear is that we will have very few new artists in the next 50 years, but we will have new songs from the legacy artists.
You make, I mean, that's obviously a good point and realistic, but you would just hope that there would be enough counterculture scenes and that people would kind of band together and start a counterculture thing to that, and maybe bring more emphasis on live music, you know what I mean? Or stuff like that. Because that's kind of what happens in history too. Like, you know, in like late 70s when kind of like punk music happened, it was a, you know, counterculture. It was because the 70s soft rock was so polished, and then they needed people were craving something more, you know, different. So hopefully people, but at the same time, like the other scary thing is that same with AI and like everything, you don't need to fucking leave your house to do anything. You know, you can just sit, click a button, you can get anything you want. So people are maybe less, you know, since they're so pacified with all that, you worry that maybe they wouldn't want to, you know, people aren't going to even have the motivation to have like a counterculture thing.
No, but I think you're right in the sense that live music will have its uptick. And I actually, I've said this before on this podcast, I think bands are coming back, because I think that it's very hard. AI could, again, I'm doing electronic music myself now, but I think that that's easier for AI to do. And,
totally.
And how would people know at some point? How would people know? I could claim that I've been making all this music myself, but if AI is as good as humans at producing music, at some point, how would people know? And then it essentially comes back to branding. Who are able to portray the most authenticity as a brand? But bands, it's very hard to fake being a band. So I think that might actually happen with hard banding, but I don't know. Like, who knows? But I hope you are right. And I think that also my main argument for why I in the end don't think AI will destroy music as an art form is I liken it to what happened with the paintings and the painters when the photo camera came. Like back then, being a good painter was like you had your family portrait done by a painter. That was the only way to have your family portrait. And then the photo camera came, and it took all the jobs away. Like why be a painter? Like who would fucking pay $100 for a painter? But what are we doing today? We're paying $2,000, $10,000 for a painting. So it's actually been because we know it's made by humans, and it's turned into being like quirky and have your personality come through. And I think again, that is what I think will happen to music. We will go like all the flat songs, like these, like that flat culture band. Yeah, but that part of it can be done by AI. And there's probably be a market, like, I don't know, kids music, I don't know. But what we'll have is like this huge variety of everyone having their quirky taste. Like, I'm going to this concert because I like this quirky stuff. And then other people hate it. The same with painted art. Some people have these strange images on their walls. Exactly. And other people want it like more realistic. But who cares? It's like I love what I love. And I think there's something for me. And I think now we've had this era where music has turned into this, and I think we'll go the very opposite way. That's my, like, if I'm trying to be philosophical about it, I think that's my bet.
Yeah, I agree, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Before I let you go, we'll end this soon, but this is interesting to me. I'm talking a lot. It's like this shouldn't be like this is your. I want to know more about you. I can already hear the comments being like, "Why are you talking so much?" Please let the other guy. French Kiwi Juice. Fuck, what a brilliant fucking musician.
Yeah, I love that dude.
How did you get? Like, you know him? I've seen you have some YouTube videos with him having millions and millions of views. How did that come about?
How did you do that? I mean, I feel like I've always been like kind of, I've like the whole like Rosh Music, that label, all those guys. I kind of like, I've always like resonated with French music and like their funk and dance music and house. And I think I just started to become friends with them. I forgot who I even met. It feels like I just met them all at the same time, like Darius and FKJ and all those guys.
Darius, too.
Yeah. So I don't even remember when we met. It feels like we were just, But then FKJ, I think we were just chatting online, and he wanted to do a video because he was doing a lot of those live videos at that point. And we just met up in LA. We did like one pre-pro day where it was me, him, and Danny, and we were just jammed like a bunch of different ideas, and we kind of decided which one we wanted to put on the video. And it was fun. The way he works, he's a lot more brave than I am in a sense. He's like, he just goes, like, he doesn't really overthink it. He seems like a very Zen dude, like a very like a spirit. He's got his he's very like a spiritual kind of dude almost, and he just has like this kind of confidence. He doesn't overthink things. He kind of just goes. Whereas like I'd overthink things a million times. He just got like a new the keyboard he's using there. I feel like he just like got it or something, and he just goes right into using it, the vocoder. I'm like, okay, man, like, let's go. I like it.
Yeah, but he has so much experience with this live looping.
That's another thing, of course. Yeah, he's got experience, obviously. So
Because I'm guessing there's like the way he puts himself out there is impressive, and you may mention it, brave, because like when you do DJ set, there aren't really that many chances of fucking up, because if you like, you can use beat match and then it's like, it's very hard. But when you do live looping, but also with Ableton and with analog instruments, and like you can have feedback in your microphone. It's like there's so much stuff that could go wrong, but he's able to pull it off.
Yeah, it's very impressive. It's crazy. Yeah, we toured it together in like Australia, and so it was fun. And then there was at least one of the shows we did like a big jam at the last song. Like me and Danny came on stage and we did a big jam. Yeah, he loves to improvise, which I would think it's kind of a rare thing in that genre. You don't see a lot of. He's a pretty special dude in that genre.
What is he doing now? I haven't paid attention maybe that much. Is he still?
I just missed him when I was last in Paris this year. He was there. He was visiting for a bit. I don't think he lives in Paris anymore, but I just missed him. But I think he's still doing stuff. I see like his music pop up from time to time. I should reconnect with him. Be fun to do.
Yeah. I mentioned, say if you want to talk to a strange Norwegian.
I'll try. For sure.
I'll do that. That's the important thing. I will carry that with me. No. You also mentioned that you've been to Norway. We'll end with that. Like, what brings you to Norway? Like, nobody I've talked to on this show has ever been to Norway.
It was like that. It was when I was touring, doing DJ sets, like around that SoundCloud period. I was traveling so much, just everywhere. I feel like you just get booked a lot. It's easy to get booked for DJ gigs because you could almost play like any club that's got shit going on. So I played the club in Norway, and it was beautiful. It was really.
You remember where?
No, I couldn't. It was probably like 2016. I can't remember. It was a pretty big club though. Like, I don't know, man. I couldn't tell you. I'm sure you can look. I can look it up, but.
No. Are you you're not planning to come back? Like, are you doing DJ sets anymore at all?
I
Or is it-
am, yeah. I did a few shows with KAYTRA in Europe for his tour, and then there was a few after parties. So I was getting back into DJing. It's just it's so much fun, man. I do want to get back into that again. So I did it for so many years, and then I kind of was like, let me pivot back into my roots with like live music. And you know, sometimes you just go in phases in your life. You know, you go through phases and seasons, and you know, now I'm feeling like I'm excited about DJing again, and
It's so easy though to DJ because you just go with a USB dongle and just stay in hotels, not stay in trucks. And
yeah, like you think about you touring, you know, with the band, you got like hauling all this gear, and with you know, DJ, you just USB backpack, you're good to go and go anywhere, just show up. But you know, obviously there's an art to DJing too. Like, you know, you gotta be able to flow, you know, and keep the energy, guide the energy of the room and stuff, which is a different thing. But you know,
I feel it is an art, but like say that to like someone who's played piano for 20 years, like it's
they work together.
It's definitely easier to learn DJing than it is like so like I feel like always that's very pretentious when DJs are like, yeah, but it's also very hard to do my job. I have to pick songs. It's like, okay, I understand. Okay, poor you. You have to pick the songs. I had to spend 20 years almost like ruining my left hand.
That is true. But then you see there are people who are good musicians that can't DJ. You know what I mean? So you see that 100%,
too. Like Paris Hilton. Okay. Okay, this has been fun. This has been so great. Just something that I forgot to ask you about. Like, what like you want? When does the album is coming out? When can people see? Are you touring now?
So this, the first single comes out tomorrow, and then you know, man, gonna take it day by day and do whatever, you know, whatever. Go wherever people want. No, I'm just kidding. But you know. Let's go.
I love that, and the fact that you we're wrapping up this 5 times, but I have one last thing, and I'm not sure if you're willing to talk about it, but I feel like there's like you have earned and you're blessed to have the freedom, I think, to be able to just to do whatever you want when you want it to, and still live in the most expensive city in the world, have a Minimoog behind you, and that's probably
now
because
I feel like a douchebag.
No, not at all. Not at all. Like, I think people are just like, of course, like he deserves every expensive synth he has. But may I ask, and I've asked this too, I talked with Brendan Brown from Vetus about it. I asked him, how much have you made on Teenage Dirtbag? And he answered it like he was willing to talk about it. But I want to ask you, like, have you, like, how much can you make in the year solely from royalties from some of these bangers, all of these bangers?
For me, it's, you know, it's enough to live comfortably and kind of afford everything I want. I don't live like crazy excessive or anything. I just kind of, there's things in life that I want, like my nice keyboards and a nice comfy place to live, and you know, like just to keep my quality of life up to my standard, and it's good, you know, like you know, it's good. I feel like, yeah, once you get a few big songs with big artists, and then they get into the sync territory and stuff like that, and if you've contributed, if you're producing, so you keep a lot of your own, you know, royalties, and you're making that consistently, it's good, man. It could be really good. Yeah, it could be.
You don't want to be specific.
I mean, yeah, I don't even, yeah, it's like, it also varies year to year, you know, like some years you make more, some less. And also I do feel like I could have made more had I been more, treated it more like a job and less like doing this because I love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that, you know, you can kind of just get what you put in.
100%. And but I think it's inspiring to people, although I 100% agree. If you're doing music in like as a way to make money, I think you're in for a tough ride. It will probably be easier to just be get another job. But I think it's still inspiring to know that it's possible to live well from making music, and of course you've done very well. Okay, I won't take more of your time. This has been a blast, and we've held on for a long time. So let's chat again sometime in the future. I wish you the best. Let me know if you ever come to Scandinavia, and I will show you around.
I love that, man. Well, this has been great, bro. Thank you so much.
And where can people find you?
You find me on Spotify, Pomo. You find me on Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. You know, everywhere, just Pomo Beats, whatever. You know, all the usual shit.
That's how it is.
That's how it is.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Ciao, Bella.
Ciao, Bella.